Luigi Mangione is charged with the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. But if he did it, should he get the death penalty? On this channel, we'll break down national trials and discuss major cases that are in the news. Each video, I'll give my takes as a New York State lawyer and break down in simple terms what's going on in the law. Today we'll be talking about what happens if Luigi is convicted at trial, and specifically, whether or not he could get the death penalty. So let's break it down. The answer to this question is actually a bit complicated. It will hinge on two things. First, whether or not he is convicted, and second, in which court he's convicted. So first, is he convicted? Of course, if Luigi is found not guilty, then he'd be free. But that's not really what we're focusing on today. So let's assume he gets convicted. The critical question, though, if he's convicted, is where he is convicted. There are two types of courts in the United States. There's federal courts and there's state courts. Most people facing criminal charges in the US face them in state courts where the alleged crime occurred. So first, let's look at state courts. Some states have the death penalty and some states don't. A lot of people have seen video of the shooting, which took place in New York City. But Luigi is actually charged in 3 different courts. He's charged in 2 state courts, and he's charged in 1 federal court. In Pennsylvania, where he was arrested at a McDonald's, he faces charges for illegal gun possession. Pennsylvania technically allows for the death penalty only in murder cases. And even though Luigi is charged with murder elsewhere, in Pennsylvania, he's just charged with gun possession. So he's not going to get the death penalty in the Pennsylvania case. In the New York State case, he is charged with murder, but New York abolished the death penalty categorically. So in the New York State case, the most Luigi could get is life in prison. But it's the third case, the federal case, brought by the United States Department of Justice, aka the federal government, where Luigi is in the most danger. The federal government has the death penalty, even though some states like New York do not. Federal crimes have to take place across multiple states, and the shooting was only in New York. So how did Luigi end up charged with federal crimes? Well, Luigi is charged by the federal government with interstate stalking, meaning that he allegedly followed Brian Thompson across multiple states. And then he's charged with using a firearm in the course of interstate stalking. Finally, he's charged with murder using a firearm in the course of interstate stalking. Each of these charges is built on the other ones, and Luigi has to be convicted of all of them in order to face the death penalty. The interstate stalking case is at the bottom of the building blocks that allow the whole federal case against Luigi to be able to proceed. So if the government wants to pursue the death penalty against Luigi, they have to show the murder, the firearm, and the interstate stalking. Even so, it's very rare that people get the federal death penalty, especially in the case of just one murder. Federal death row only has 3 people on it right now, and all of them are convicted mass murderers. We've got Dylan Roof, who killed 9 people at the Mother Emanuel Church in South Carolina. We've got Robert Bowers, who killed 11 people at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pennsylvania. And finally, Johar Tsarnaev, who, along with his brother, killed 3 people and injured more than 260 in the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing. So it would be a bit surprising for Luigi to join them. Still, the case has generated enough news that it is possible the government would want to make an example out of him. If that happens, his life may hinge not just on the murder case, but also on the underlying interstate stalking case. Ultimately, what does this boil down to? If he's convicted in the federal case, Luigi could face the death penalty. If he's convicted in the state cases, the most he could get is life in prison. What is most likely? My guess right now would be that the state cases happen first, and that if Luigi is found guilty in the state cases, he could make a deal with the federal government to avoid the death penalty in the federal case. But we'll have to see how things unfold and we'll want to keep a close eye on which case is moving the most quickly. So what do you think? Should Luigi get the death penalty? Should anyone? If you were on his jury, what would you do? Also, what legal topics would you like to see covered on this channel? Right now, I'm thinking about looking into the terrorism charges that Luigi's facing in New York, and also maybe talking about possible strategies for both sides if the case were to go to trial. Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.